are also doing professional training for landscape architects, engineers, planners. In fact, we had a workshop here at the Monon Center last year with participants from at least a dozen communities talking about things they could do with their ordinances and with their guidelines that would be increasingly habitat friendly and good for wildlife in their own communities. So today we're gathered here to celebrate the certification of Central Park as the first wildlife friendly park in Indiana. And I want to turn it over to Mark Westermar to talk a little bit about what that means to Central Park and to the Carmel community. And I appreciate the commitment that we have here from a park director that actually I've known since high school. We were in the same high school class in Columbus, Indiana. So Mark, tell us what we're going to do here with Central Park.
Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here today, and I'm very happy to have been a small part of this path that we've made to become wildlife certified in Central Park. It's been a journey. And quite honestly, it started many years ago when Gary Doxnader approached me and said, we would like to talk about Carmel becoming the first park system in the state of Indiana to be certified as wildlife friendly. And I told Gary, I said, we're already certified nationally by the National Wildlife Federation. But there's quite a difference between what we had at the National Wildlife Federation certification, which literally was a checklist. It's a sheet of paper, you checked off, we have water, we have trees, we have flowers, and we're certified. This certification has been a very comprehensive plan. Our staff for the Carmel Clay Parks Department and IWF staff have worked together to map out, to inventory the plants, the trees, the shrubs, all the different species in this park and every park. And as we've done that, we planned for future development of how we were going to go in the future, what needed to be added, what needed to be subtracted from the equation. And we talked also about how we were going to provide ongoing maintenance to the parks, individually and as a group. Our parks are comprised of small ecosystems, and in each of those ecosystems, when you look out larger, we see a lot of biodiversity within, especially this park, but in every park. And from that, what we really found that we needed to do is more in public education. I think it's fitting that this is the first park to be certified, and there's a reason. Many of you may remember that this was mostly cornfields, and the park board had a vision to create a community center. It's a 146,000 square foot building with 10 acres of outdoor water park and nestle that in nature. That in itself is quite a feat, yet it was accomplished. So everything that is around us was specifically designed for the purpose of being environmentally friendly, being eco-friendly, and providing habitat for animals. From our outdoor aquatic pools, even the water that's in those pools isn't just released into the storm system. That water is released with all the chemicals it contains into a holding pond. That holding pond lets the sun scrub out all of the bad chemicals in a natural process, and it's then released into the wetlands. The wetlands were designed with specific plant material that further scrubs and cleanses the water as it makes its way to the open lagoon that's behind us. At that time, we have clean water that replenishes the aquatic life and promotes fish growth in that area. The pond edge that you see that's around here was designed with purpose. One, it reduces the amount of geese that you might see just loitering around because they don't like the fact that we've closed off the water. So that's one advantage to the users of the park. Second, to the small children, if you drop your ball, instead of running out into open water, we have a lot of different plant and aquatic material that tends to inhibit them from ever making it into the open water. And third, it provides natural habitat. All that just in what looks like a bunch of weeds and untrimmed grass. our parking lots, we have bioswales. Those bioswales have plant material that was installed specifically to cleanse the contaminants out of the runoff in the parking lots. And then underground from there, we have a massive integrated pipe system that takes that clean water and redistributes it into the open water of the lagoon. All this on purpose and to the casual observer unknown. This is what it takes to really fix things in our environment. And then as you look around, you see the prairie. And prairie in and of itself is a very interesting thing. Over the years, we've had many discussions about prairie. And I can probably tell you that I was not really a proponent of prairie when I first started with parks almost 7 years ago. But here's what prairie does. Prairie promotes wildlife. It's natural. We use native species. It reduces air pollution because we don't mow it as often. It reduces water pollution because we don't use pesticides and fertilizers to keep it going. And it saves us money because we don't have to mow it quite as often, providing habitat to wildlife. These are very important considerations. When I say save money, what does that mean? If we take the turf that's in front of us, which is lawn, which most of us have at home, the average cost of maintaining a lawn in the United States is $1,000 a year. Yet prairie is $150 a year maximum. This helps make the entire park system more sustainable by using prairie. In closing, there's really something very important that's going on right now, and I think most all of you know about the crisis we have in the Gulf of Mexico with the oil spill. And as tragic as that is, until just a few months ago, the worst environmental damage that's ever occurred in the United States was the Exxon Valdez. The Exxon Valdez had a crude oil spill of 10.8 million gallons of oil. And we go, wow, that's horrible, 10.8 million gallons. But in the United States, each and every year, there are 17 million gallons of gasoline spilled, filling and refilling lawnmowers. Let me repeat that, because this is a statistic from the Environmental Protection Agency. Each and every year, 17 million gallons of gasoline is spilled into our earth in this country, filling and refilling lawnmowers. That's something we should all be very concerned about. And every time we plant prairie, we create natural habitat, we reduce the amount of gasoline that's spilled in this country. With that, I would like to thank my staff especially for all the hard work they did in preparation for today, in preparing the plan that we have for this park and the other parks that they're working on. I'd also like to thank John and his staff for all the work they've done in working with our staff and helping us get to this. And finally, to Gary Dockstetter. Quite honestly, without Gary and his tenacity and gentle prodding over the years, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. So thank you very much for coming.
Again, thanks to everyone for being part of this. I think we have a sign in the wheel. This is the official designation. Carmel, of course, helped us with the design on this, but I think we're all going to be proud of it, and we hope to see these in how many parks, Mark? 14. Carmel is working on a plan to do this in all 14 parks, which is a fantastic commitment of resources and effort. And I want to thank the park staff who are going to have to maintain all these. But it's going to be a tremendous asset for quality of life here in Carmel and for all the kids to enjoy and everybody. So what's that sign look like? Jim, you got it ready?
Yeah.